one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Miss Martin.
Here.
Mayor Caulfield.
Here.
Mr. Conway.
Here.
Miss Doherty.
Here.
Miss Fattacante.
Here.
Mr. Leahy.
Here.
Mr. Larry.
Here.
7 present.
Thank you. It is with great pleasure that I introduce the next article on the agenda, the Spotlight on Excellence. And I must say, the entire administration of the Lowell Public Schools, along with the school committee and the mayor, and everyone associated with the Lowell Public Schools, are thankful and grateful for the great work of Chief Master Sergeant Robert Jakes and Lowell High School Senior Custodian Patrick Harrigan, with their innovative ways and ideas of improving the flagpole area at Lowell High School. And without any further ado, it is with great pleasure that I introduce Chief Sergeant Robert Jakes and Mr. Harrigan.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and the school committee. We appreciate your opportunity to come here before you and present this. I must say that I lost a bet tonight to Mr. Conway because I bet that he would wear shorts today, and he always wears shorts, and he disappointed me. So, what we've done here is I want to just give you a little history. I know that each and every one of you have it in front of you, but what we've done is, unfortunately, last winter about this time, one of the trucks was backing up in the back of the school, and as they backed up timber, off went the flagpole, and Mr. Harrigan called me and said, when are you going to put up the flag? And I said, well, we're going to put up in the morning. He says, it's no flagpole, it's gone. So through his creative working, he worked with the insurance company, and now we have 3 flagpoles that are up there on the side. If you look on the, we did this rendition here, this copy. And what we did is that was kind of digitized. We kind of put that together back in June, just to kind of play with that and how it would look with a brick project that we wanted to go ahead and put together. And so we worked with the city architects, and they came up with a plan that Pat's going to talk about here in a few minutes. But our goal was to create something meaningful for our high school that we think was going to be something that we would all have a good buy-in and look really well in front of the school. So we kind of put some thoughts together about why we thought it would be great to have that project there at the school. Now, realizing the fact we know that the school committee is the sole source where they naming different buildings and whatnot, is that we're kind of looking for your direction and which way we should go as far as do we give it to you and you all kind of go ahead and decide on what do you want to name it, or do you want to have a contest at the school or the city, and maybe someone could get a free brick. But this is something that's beyond us. We just don't know how you want to handle that whole area. We kind of talked about a brick in time, a place in time, a walk of fame. Could be all kinds of different things, but we just need your guidance and front on this whole thing. But we had some great support throughout the city, and now we're ready to go forward. Pat's going to kind of talk to you about, I call him Dr. Green. He's going to give you the whole scenario and how it all unfolds. Pat?
Thank you. I think all of you have a rendition of what it's going to look like from the street. It's changed somewhat in the picture.
Pat, speak right into that
Okay.
microphone, because then the people at home can't.
Very good. It's changed from the picture because it's got to have a retaining wall going around it, and because of the level of it, which it actually works out better. And it's going to end up looking at it from this view here, an aerial shot looking down. Will now have shrubbery, and you'll walk into it with some benches that some of the classes are going to donate to it, because they were looking for a class of project to donate stuff. And the nice thing of it is the building right now has rain gutters that come off of the roof and down into it, and through what they call bioretention, the water's going to drain into this, and when this becomes full, it would leak out like normal, but it's all through green. It's filtered and leaks down out into the street, and it's safe for anything that's might get trapped or pass by. And plus, then you water area keeps watered through the rainwater. This was done with the people in DPD, and then they give their, all the explanations of what they're gonna do. But looking at it from the street, I've never really liked what it looks like when you drive up, so this will give it a focal point and take away that look that we have now, and the flagpole's not in the middle. Now there's 3 poles against the wall, which are already in and up and running. That's it.
Sergeant, would you want to,
We'd just like to know if we could kind of, if there's any discussion about how we should kind of continue on with the naming, or...
Ms. Fattacanti?
Thank you, Your Honor. We have a building naming subcommittee, so what I would suggest is that the Senior Master Sergeant, we would forward this to the building naming subcommittee. Ms. Martin is on it, the chairperson, and there are 3 of us. So I would suggest that we forward the motion to the building naming subcommittee, and Mr. Leary is on that also, and we would work with the Senior Master Sergeant to figure out a plan of how we would come about with the name, and then we would sit with this full committee and see if this full committee is in agreement. So that would be a motion to send this to the building naming subcommittee so that we can work with the Senior Master Sergeant to come up with the process.
I just wanted to, just briefly, first of all, thank you so much for coming forward with this great plan. I can't think of a better way to honor America with these 3 beautiful flagpoles, with one of them carrying the flag of the United States. I would just a suggestion, rather than name it after one individual or one person, or we've had so many veterans that attended Lowell High School over the decades who have served the country with pride and distinction. It'd be nice if we call it and dedicate this to the memory to all veterans who graduate from Lowell High School, attend Lowell High School. Matter of fact, we have a student right now, Travis Ginsel, is in Iraq, and he keeps calling me. He just called me last night in the United States Marines. So that's just a suggestion. The committee will certainly come up with the proper name and identification. But that way there you'll be recognizing
Everybody.
all the veterans who served with pride and distinction.
Could we go forward and begin selling the bricks?
Why don't we,
Yes.
why don't we have a roll call on this?
Okay.
And somebody bring a
So,
motion.
Your Honor, my first motion would be to forward the matter to to the subcommittee on building naming, the process of how we would name, and then we'll have another vote immediately proceeding to decide about going forward to sell bricks. So I'm going to make a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules by Ms. Fattacanti, seconded by Mr. Leahy. All in favor of the suspension indicate by saying aye. And
Aye. So my motion, Your Honor, would be to send the request to the building naming subcommittee so that we can sit down and grapple with the issue of what we're going to name this common.
Seconded by Ms. Doherty. Let's take a roll call on that motion, please.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Ms. Doherty?
Yes.
Ms. Fattacanti?
Yes.
Mr. Leahy?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Now we need a motion to grant them the authority to go ahead with this project.
Motion, Your Honor, to allow the ROTC to move forward with the process of selling bricks.
Seconded by Mr. Leary. Let's have a roll call on that motion.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Ms. Doherty?
Yes.
Ms. Fattacanti?
Yes?
Mr. Leahy?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Is there an anticipated cost of what this would cost to, and I know,
I think they're working that out, but it's all going to be, it all depends on the number of bricks we sell. We anticipate 1,500. I know that's kind of way out there, but we think we can get that with everybody's efforts that we're going to put forth, and we get the Lowell Sun, and a lot of alumni have really been excited about this. There's 2 different types of bricks. We also put 5 in each one of your packages. One's $50 and one's $75. Could be a family brick. It's a double brick. So, and Carla Couliard at the school is doing a database, so she's going to have it all done. All the monies that come in, Gail Green has that in the purser's account. So it's really working really well. And then what will happen is we try to get this done by 15 May. Before we get it all completed, we're going to send out an email to everybody or call them just to make sure the names are going to be correctly on the bricks before we actually go to press. And if it all works right, the first week in July, is that right, Pat? First week in July, right after the 4th, they'll be putting this all together, and then maybe have a dedication ceremony come September when we can all back to school.
Sergeant, put me down for family break.
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate everybody's support.
And I just want to say that because of the initiatives of Chief Master Sergeant Robert Jakes, the youngsters of the LTC program are visiting 100 elderly during a snowstorm and removing the snow from their sidewalks and steps and driveways. Can't thank you enough for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Conway?
Could we send a letter of thank you and congratulations to Chief Jakes and Patrick Harrigan for this,
Yes.
for their effort?
Yes.
Because this is a perfect example of employees stepping forward and coming up with a very unique and unusual idea. So I congratulate both of them.
Yeah. So you would like the superintendent of schools to forward a thank you
Second.
on behalf of the school committee, and you can rest assured the mayor's office will also have citations for Mr. Jakes and Mr. Harrigan. So, okay.
Thank you,
You're
Mr. Mayor.
welcome. So, Madam Superintendent, we can make that
John.
happen. So. That's what makes the city so great, the initiatives. I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes of the last meeting by Connie Martin, seconded by Mr. Leahy. All in favor of accepting the minutes and place them on file indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes have been accepted and placed on file. Permission to enter.
Yes, Your Honor. Sealand Chambers for the amount of $10,000 to provide staff training which will directly benefit teachers by improving their capacity to utilize specific assistive technology and instruments for students with special needs. Funding provided by the Special Education Department budget grant funds. Dorothy C., and I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce the name, Enchern, MD, CCC, SLP, $10,000 to provide consultation and training to special needs teachers working with students with cochlear implants to observe these students as needed to make recommendations related to their individual education plans. Funding provided by the Special Education 240 grant.
Motion to approve by Ms. Doherty, seconded by Mr. Conway. Roll call.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Ms. Doherty?
Yes.
Ms. Fattacante?
Yes?
Mr. Leahy?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Moving on with the agenda, memorials by the committee as a whole. Beatrice T. Hoare, retired Lowell High School teacher and advocate for children of Lowell Public Schools, first grade students to be given their first reading book. Mary Betty Crowley, mother of Lieutenant Tim Crowley, former supervisor of the School Resource Officers Program. By Regina M. Fattacante. Carol A. Moran, retired Butler School paraprofessional and mother of Beth Moran, Shaughnessy School paraprofessional. And Charlene Hodge, former Lowell High School clerk. Let us all rise with darkened chambers for a moment of silence. May they rest in peace. Unfinished business? Any unfinished business? No unfinished business? Public participation? Public participation? No public participation. We are moving on to the motions. Motions. First motion by David Conway to request the superintendent ask the city solicitor to conduct legal research on the matter of non-contractual employee buyback and prepare a legal memorandum for the committee outlining all applicable case law addressing this subject. Motion seconded by?
Second.
By Ms. Fattacani. On the motion, Mr. Conway.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think that this is obviously a very important topic, and we've had much discussion in the last few weeks concerning it. I think it's imperative that that we receive as much information as possible so that we can make a very informed decision. I think in the past we've found that committees too often will make a knee-jerk reaction to a situation, and in some cases, Mr. Mayor, has cost the city hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I don't think that we can afford that in these difficult financial times. So as far as I can see, I think it's extremely important that our decision that we make is based on fairness, equity, and I think most important, a solid foundation of case law. So I would hope that my colleagues would support me in this. Thank you.
Any discussion, Mr. Leahy?
Thank you. I like this motion, and I think Mr. Conway's right. We need to get all the information we can on this before we make a vote. On one hand, we have employees that, we made an agreement when we hired these people. We made a verbal agreement. We told them what the pay was, what the requirements were, and what the benefits were. And we researched it, but I don't think we researched it far enough. I think we need to go back 30 years and look for a vote. Because who's to say we didn't, a past committee didn't vote on it 30 years ago? I don't know. I mean, maybe we did, maybe they didn't. I think we have an obligation to thoroughly look at this for our employees. And if we make decisions, I think that, we make decisions that affect everybody and not just small groups. That's just my personal thought on that. But I don't think to jump to a decision on this and to vote on it one way or the other right now is the way to go. So I'm looking forward to getting an opinion from the city solicitor and to talk about this with my colleagues. Thank you.
Ms. Martin?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. If I could ask, and I don't know what the kind of parameters of this would be, but we have scheduled this item for discussion. I know the city solicitor is planning on being in attendance along with the auditor at our upcoming Personnel and Finance Subcommittee, which is scheduled, I believe, for the 26th of this month, which would be a week from tomorrow. My hope would be, certainly supportive of making sure we have all the legal background. Will it be possible for that to happen in that time frame? We've had a very difficult time scheduling that meeting. I'm hoping that at that time we'd be able to, I know that the solicitor has been anticipating this meeting for a while. I suspect that she has been compiling the necessary information, but that if we could come into that meeting with the information that Mr. Conway has requested, I think that would be really helpful. And I also include in that certainly the information that I know this committee has received regarding the city statutes, which directly impact this, as all school committee, or rather school department employees are indeed city employees as well, ensuring that we have that material so that we can, again, have all the background facts that we need to make a decision, hopefully, on that 26th. I guess as we discuss this, it would be important to note that if the solicitor does not feel she has the time to accommodate that request, if there's something in addition that Mr. Conway is specifically looking for, it might be helpful if we could have a mechanism in place that the superintendent could inform the committee, and we can schedule that meeting, or I guess unschedule it accordingly.
Knowing the solicitor like I do, I would have to say that she probably already has researched this thoroughly and probably has an answer for this committee. Mr. Conway?
Yes, just very quickly. I think you're right, Mr. Mayor. I don't think the city solicitor will have that much difficulty researching the situation. I assume that she probably has Westlaw program that information, I think, can come up pretty quick in a matter of a few hours, that research can happen. Thank you.
It'd be interesting to get that report or that decision, and the decision that the solicitor makes is probably not what some of you want to hear. So we'll wait and see. Mr. Leary?
I'm not sure what that actually means.
Well, I mean,
you don't know how I think about it one way or the other, so how would you know how I feel about it one way or the
I
other?
said some of you would.
Well, that's something you shouldn't be saying on the floor, whether you know what every individual member thinks, with all due respect.
Okay. Any other discussion? Moving on with the motions. Motions by James Leary and John Leahy. Request the superintendent provide the school committee an updated organizational chart for both central office and the Lowell High School. The report should include the funding source for each employment position within the chart, Title I, general budget, or other sources that may be applicable. Seconded by Mr. Conway. On the motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll speak first. This motion basically speaks for itself, but what we're looking for is to have this information so we can make some good and thoughtful decisions come budget time, and we want to just make sure that we have all the information in front of us so that we can take a good look, see what we have in front of us, and again, just make some good, thoughtful decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Just quickly, just to echo what my colleague said, as everyone knows, this is a living document. What you'll see when you receive it, I guess, up night will show that some changes have already been made from the last organizational chart, be it like the Parent Information Center, where we've actually made some consolidations. Pardon my voice. We're fully aware that additional consolidations and changes within central office, within the high school, throughout the entire system are currently in place, that that will be made and be brought before the school committee in the next coming months. So it's an ongoing living document. It's meant to be informational. It's something that I guess we request on an annual basis. It's also, I guess what's key to point out here, and I don't want to go on and on, but it's key to point out, even without the budget situation that we're in, some of these changes, like the Parent Information Center, would have already been made and would have probably been supported by all of our committee members, as they already have been, because change is a constant thing. We're always, as a committee, constantly striving to improve the quality of education for our students, aligning the monies for the student and reporting back to the taxpayers. It's an ongoing process that often isn't very dramatic, like saying the song of Serena, who's going to own it, and that's something, obviously, it's eye-catchy, but it's something that we've continuously done, something we're going to continuously do going forward. And I think the superintendent will be bringing other projects before us, as well as other committee members with other ideas. Thank you.
Any discussion on the motion? Mr. Conway.
Just for clarification, I mean, I agree with my colleagues on this. I'm just wondering, and I understand it's a document that it's a work in progress. Is there a specific time frame are we talking about here? Because the only reason I'm asking that is this here, it is going to be something that's going to be changing, and I'm wondering how somebody could come up with the chart at this point.
If I could add, it's a good question. I think we'll get what it was as of today, which should be rather press the button out, here it comes. On being cognizant of the fact that it will change again as we go forward. But it's a good document, a good working document to take a look at where we are today, understanding the funding sources, not only general budget, Title I, but also other types of funds that are used from other sources. But it is a living document, and when you look at it, things that you may take votes, Mr. Conway, that are going to change the document that you're looking at, but at least gives you an idea so you're fully cognizant of what exists at that point in time.
So in other words, the document that we have now presently available, is that what we're talking about? Okay,
And
thank you.
the chair would like to ask the superintendent, Madam Superintendent, wouldn't this information also be included in the budget for 2010?
Yes, Your Honor. If I understand the motion, the way I was interpreting it was that as we bring forward restructuring efforts, we would present as a reference point the present organizational chart as it exists and the new chart with regards to what the case in point was the family.
Yeah, that would be in the most updated. So if you asked for the report back in
Right.
December, it wouldn't have reflected that. But today, since we made that vote, it would reflect that. So at the point I meant, maybe trying to get too much into it, it's a living document, but it is a good reference point. As far as the mayor's comment regarding the 2010 budget, that's correct. But it's something that you have useful, so when you make decisions, you have votes, you're aware of the entire picture and how the funding's related.
Okay, any more discussion? If none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. The third motion by James Leary and John Leahy requests the superintendent provide the school committee with a report outlining the amount of Title I monies allocated in the 2008-2009 budget for each elementary and middle school. The report should include the employment positions for which Title I is a source of funding, seconded by Ms. Doherty. On the motion.
Ditto. It's a self-explanatory. Thank you.
Ms. Doherty?
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to point out, I think these motions are very important as we go into the budget cycle, because as we know, the federal government will be providing educational funds to the state of Massachusetts, which Lowell will be one of the recipients of that. And some of that money has been earmarked Title I money, which means we can only use it for Title I programs and it's as Title I staffing. So for us to get a heads up on what those current positions are in our system, I think is very important going forward. And I just wanted to point that out. Thanks.
Okay. Ms. Fattacani?
Thank you, Your Honor. In light of the budget talk that we're starting to have right now, I'd like to refer through you, Your Honor, to Assistant Superintendent Lang. Can you reiterate again for me, Mr. Lang, what was our budget cut that the city requested from us this year?
Approximately a month ago, when the 9C cuts went in at the state level, it was a little over $600,000, $605,000. Right about there was the number.
Okay. And that was the cut that the city asked us to specifically cut from our budget?
Correct. The city, if I can elaborate, the city received approximately a $3 million cut in their 9C actions. The city manager looked at how much money, how much local funds, taking Chapter 70 off the top, the city contributed to the school department as compared to other city departments, and it was about 20% of the funding went to the city side, went to the school department. So he allocated that $3 million cut proportionally among departments. So the school department was asked to pick up approximately 20% of that cut, or the $600,000. The other various city departments picked up the $2.4 million on their side, and those are the numbers that they're working through at this time.
And Mr. Lang, during that period of time, we did not need to furlough any employees. Can you explain to me why we were so fortunate?
Well, a few reasons. We were fortunate largely because in our non-personnel line items within the budgets, we were able to find economies. There were a few positions that we didn't fill mid-year when there were retirements, so we froze those positions and recouped the savings for the rest of the year, both salary and benefits. Both of our utility accounts were running under budget for the particular cycles, and they were trending downward for the rest of the year, which was significant. Largely, on the electricity side, the city entered into a contract which included all the school facilities for electricity costs, which was less than the amounts we had actually had as fixed costs last year. So our budget was based on last year's actuals, and again, because the city locking in that contract, we saved money on electricity. On the natural gas side, as you know, we've made a concerted effort with the school committee support to reduce some of our weekend access to buildings, to really work with our vendor who controls and regulates our temperature out of school time to make sure that the buildings weren't overheated. And we saw some substantial savings, I believe about $150,000 in natural gas for the year. So we were able to cut that without having to affect bodies. I think if if we had been in a similar situation to the city and had to cut $2.4 million, we certainly would have been into positions at that point. We were only asked to contribute the $600,000, and I think to give you a parallel on the city side, they were able to come up with about $1.4 million before they had to start discussing furloughs and layoffs. So certainly if we were in a similar situation and had to exceed the $600,000, we would have been talking people as well. But I think we were fortunate in our budget planning that we were able to find the cutbacks in non-personnel items, as well as our cut just wasn't as big as the city's cut.
Thank you, Mr. Lang. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Leahy?
Thank you, Your Honor. I just had a couple of comments, and through you to Mr. Lang. On Ms. Fatacani's question, so through some strategic planning that we did, we benefited on the electric savings. I mean, basically, we have more buildings on the school side than the city side, so that was a major plus for us with the gas savings. Okay, and then obviously we contributed what we were asked to by the city side, and we were through retirements, saving the consolidation of the Parent Information Center. We were fortunate enough not to have to do furloughs or layoffs right now.
Correct. And again, largely because of the threshold we were talking about. Again, in a $140 million budget, we were able to come up with $600,000 without having to affect people or positions. And again, I think if we went much higher than that and we approached the $1 million mark, we would have been talking positions at that point. But based on the city's allocation to the schools and just the way the proportionality of it worked, and I do credit the city manager as well, of kind of holding the school department's cut to the proportion of funding that is allocated towards the schools. That 20% or $600,000 is something we could implement mid-year without having to affect bodies or furloughs to get us through this particular year.
Okay, thank you. And I just have one other comment on the motion, through you to the superintendent. As Ms. Doherty said, we do want to take a good look at our Title I funds, and I did want to thank you because we met with Congresswoman Tsongas to talk about Title I funds, because as a committee, we would like to see more reading teachers in our schools, especially in the elementary, middle schools, and this has been a pet peeve of ours for a few years since we had to cut and take some of those reading teachers out. So this is a good first step to see where we are and to use that money wisely as it comes in, hopefully for the Title I. So thank you.
Madam Superintendent?
Just another point I'd like to make with regards to the savings. I think it also should be noted that there have been retirements that have occurred that we originally had planned to fill and we didn't. And if we would have filled those as we went along this year, we would perhaps be looking at furloughs and other cost-saving measures that we haven't, because we saw this coming for quite a while. And so it's not just like we're going to act today. And when we restructured PIC, some of those people we didn't replace who were also retiring through that whole reorganization, as you know. So I just want to know that we have sacrificed positions already throughout this fiscal year. And the way we did it was so that, right through nutrition, so we wouldn't really upset people. But if it goes much further, we would have to.
Mr. Leary?
Just a final comment on it, too. This committee also, in planning and foresight of what may happen in the future, we've taken a vote not to replace positions other than teaching and paraprofessional positions. So I think being proactive, and I think the word I used last week when this committee unanimously voted on that, 7-0, we said aggressive, but aggressive with confidence, not hysteria. Because hysteria, you start to make bad moves. You're not thinking. It's with confidence and with thinking through the process and being aggressive that you are successful with it, not from mean-spirited comments, not by hysteria. Hysteria, you lose. And I think this committee has demonstrated time and time again that we are aggressive but confident and do it in the right way. Thank you.
Any other, Madam Superintendent?
Just with regards to those comments, I think it's important, too, that I have mentioned to various school committee members that the various restructuring plans that are being presently worked on are, first and foremost, we want what's best for our students, and quite often when we do that, it's also cost savings. And these plans, just like the reorg of PIC, we're hoping will occur somewhat distant from the FY10 budget, because it's not so much just about the budget process of FY10, just how we can do what we do for our students in a more efficient, effective manner. So over the next 8 weeks, you will see various proposals before you explaining the thought process that went behind it. And again, it'll be outside of the budget. It doesn't mean once the FY10 budget comes along and we have to make serious cuts, but we'll know that our baseline is well thought out, to Mr. Larry's point, and that where we're going is, had the input of from our staff and from you, and then we'll be, I believe, on solid ground.
Any other discussion? I just want to briefly interject my thoughts on this issue. Governor Patrick did make the $3 million in 9C cuts to the city of Lowell. Had to be done. The revenues in the state have absolutely diminished, and something had to be done. And we still have to find $500,000 in cuts on the city side. Non-union personnel are taking a 3-day furlough, and I know Manager Lynch is going to have discussions with the unions. That's this year. 2010 is a different story. City of Lowell is going to receive 6.3% cut in local aid, $156 million. Do the math. It's $9.5 million. On top of that, we're $2 million above and beyond our snow and ice deficit, our budget rather. 2010 is going to be a tough year for everyone, not only Lowell, but throughout the state. California is $42 billion in the red. It's throughout the entire country. Everyone in government is going to have to come to the table and do their part to get through this. Everyone. Mayor Lang from New Bedford was in City Hall at 6:10. I had a meeting with him. He was in the city, and he had to lay off 200 people in New Bedford. 200. And he has a workforce of 1,400. So we're all in this together, and we're all going to have to clasp hands, come to the table, and do the best for the school children and for the citizens that we represent. And it's just going to have to happen. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. And that's 6.3% now. I don't know what it could be in May, because people aren't buying cars. There's no excise tax. People aren't buying wash machines, refrigerators, etc. There's no sales tax, and so forth. And, you know, the legislature's doing their part. The governor's doing his part, and we all have to come to the table and face this. And when I met with the governor in October with other mayors and city managers and town administrators, we were extremely afraid of local aid. And at that point in time, there wasn't a cut in local. It was a $1.4 billion cut in the state budget. And they said, no, local aid won't be touched. In February of 2009, it was touched. So we're in this dilemma, and we'll all have to work through it, every one of us. And, you know, there shouldn't be anyone standing out as a hero, but as long as we all push the wagon together, or pull the wagon together, and hopefully the unions will join with us and get through this serious fiscal dilemma. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. The next motion by Jackie Dougherty, requests permission for Lowell to host a Massachusetts Association of School Committee Urban Division meetings on March 3rd, topic to include sharing and advocating for cost efficiencies during difficult financial times. Apropos. Seconded by Mr. Conway. On the motion?
Thank you, Your Honor. If I could just make a correction, the date is March 28th.
That's what I said, didn't I?
I thought you said March 3rd.
I thought I said March 28th. I'll say it one more time, March 28th.
Only because I had
Did I say
sent them.
March 28th?
It doesn't matter. Okay. Just,
Thank you, June.
I mean, I don't know what I
actually thought he said 28.
Okay, fine. That's good, okay. I just want to make sure it was the right date. I think the motion pretty much speaks for itself. We are, as my colleagues know, I'm chair of the Urban Division for Mass Association of School Committees this year, and we're working to have these division meetings across the state to help communities really look at the fiscal crisis, look at what are some of the things we could be advocating for on the state level that perhaps would not cost money, such as the 106 unfunded mandates that we currently face, and as the superintendent knows, the all the regulations and reports that have to be, and that's just one area. The other is to look for efficiencies and to learn from each other how we might do the job better without, adding more costs. This particular one will be geared towards urban communities like Lowell, who face similar challenges in terms of the demographics of the population they're educating. And we all face, as you said, the same fiscal crisis. So this was, I'd like to just get as an opportunity to show off the city and as a learning experience, and I would hope that my colleagues would all be able to come. We haven't set the time yet. Obviously, we're going to speak with the superintendent and her staff, see what location in the city would be best. I'm thinking one of our schools that's near the highway for people coming from all these different areas around the state. But that's the intention with this motion.
How many people, Jackie, would attend this conference?
Well, I was at one last night for Division 4, which is down in the Marlborough area, and they had 40 people. As well as a couple of legislators. Our newly elected state senator, Jamie Eldridge, was there, as well as a new representative, Danielle, I can't think of her last name. But the idea is to invite the legislatures as well, but it's mostly geared towards school committee members and superintendents. We had a few superintendents who were there.
They had to set a school?
They had it at a vocational school
Okay.
in Marlborough.
Okay.
But that one was not focused so much on urban. That's where we talked about the federal stimulus package, what that's going to mean to our communities around education, and also these mandates, these unfunded mandates, and some other advocacy items that MASC is putting forward that we talked to our legislators about. So I'm hoping we would get attendance from our legislators too.
Okay. Mr. Leahy?
Thank you, Your Honor. Excuse me. These are usually pretty well attended. We had one here in Lowell maybe 3 or 4 years ago in July during Folk Fest, so it wasn't the best time. But we
During the
probably had
Folk
about,
Fest?
yeah, it was that Saturday. But we probably had about 40 people, so they're usually well attended. Thank you.
Does somebody have a cell phone that's on? Oh, you're need a call or whatever it might be. What's that? Could it be on vibrate and somebody doesn't know? Yeah. Mr. Leahy? Just checking, thank you, because if you know.
We don't text during our meetings, we actually talk to each other.
Thank you.
Okay, just putting that right out there,
I have noticed, I don't see anyone doing this.
putting that right out there, okay.
Okay, John, I'm sorry.
I just want to say that they're usually well attended, so,
Yeah.
because you had asked about the attendance, so
Well, I was just
that's all.
surmising, if we had that conference, we would have to have lunch or some ways and means of offering nutrition. So if you had it at Lowell High School, you could probably offer that.
Yeah, you could. Last time we had it catered by Lindsay's, but we could, that's a good idea to have it, at the high school with the high
It's
school. group.
Saturday. But just in clarification of that point, last night they did serve a meal
Don't say lobster and...
as the vocational school in Marlborough prepared it, but there was a fee for school committee members to attend. I am not expecting that we're going to be feeding a bunch of people. I mean, if it's more than if we do something like Saturday morning at 10 a.m., maybe there'll be coffee and muffins.
Right, okay.
But if they want, if MASC decides they want to offer a luncheon or a brunch, then we'd be looking for their contribution or some sort of a fee for
I
members.
just thought I'd bring that
Because, you know,
forward.
I don't expect this to be a burden on us. But the idea of having school committee people from, let's say, Haverhill, Methuen, you know, Lawrence, Framingham, Medford, Somerville, sitting together in a room, sharing ideas. We could talk about the $200,000 we just saved in conserving energy in our buildings. I mean, one piece of the meeting is to be sharing cost savings, efficiency, things that have worked in other urban districts, so we can learn from each other. Another piece is the presentation by the Mass Association of School Committees, where they're going to be informing us about some of the things we could be looking for from our state legislature, things that don't cost money, but that will enable us to do our jobs better.
I
in
must say,
educating our
too, we
students.
saved quite a bit of money on the healthcare, the school department, didn't we?
Right, by getting into the having, but
Any-
that's the, it's an information sharing kind of thing that we could really, I think, learn from each other and move forward, as you said, working together in this fiscal crisis.
Any other discussion on this motion? If not, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. Let me see. Next motion by Jackie Doherty. Request the superintendent provide a report updating the committee regarding progress being made on vertical articulation of the science curriculum across the district, seconded by Ms. Martin.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just briefly, I was thinking about, in the last 5 years, we have cut all our elementary science teachers. We have put more than $500,000 into improvements at the science labs at the high school, and we have now been mandated by the state to have our fifth graders tested, do an MCAS science test. Okay, and there is a science test now at the 10th grade level as well for MCAS. So all these changes have happened in the last 5 years. And we are, as we know, facing another fiscal crisis. We're looking to make more cuts. My intention with this motion is to really get a look at what we're doing district-wide for science. How are we handling the fact that fourth graders no longer have science as a special, but now it's taught in the classroom? And how are we preparing our students to be ready not only to pass science as an MCAS exam, but to really be able to enter the college, university level, prepared to do high-level science work. We are a state known for our technological expertise. So I think that I really want to look at the whole science picture as part of looking at how we're doing the work of educating our students. Thank you.
Any other discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? The motion carries. The next motion by Connie Martin and Jackie Doherty, requesting that the administration develop recommendations for integrating financial education into our ongoing K-12 curriculum development, and to investigate the potential of offering a series of parent-focused financial education information nights across the district, seconded by Mr. Conway. On the motion, Connie.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. This motion really came out of, as part of my work every day at Community Teamwork, I've had the opportunity to serve on one of the governor's councils that are discussing the issues of asset development within the Commonwealth, and specifically talking a great deal about financial literacy and financial education and how we can really incorporate it across the state, making it available to families, and it seems to me that it makes perfect sense to be able to start incorporating it and utilizing this as part of our traditional mathematics, and in some cases, social studies curriculum. I think it's, as we talk about timing, it is a time here and certainly across the nation when it has been proven to us just how dangerous it is for people not to have this kind of understanding of the financial products that are available, of the repercussions of certain decision-making around money. And it's one of those topics that in many cases, certainly for adults, is very difficult to talk about. It's, as we've discussed, as I said, as part of this commission's work, there was some discussion about trying to work with the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, and there was certainly some concerns about their ability to be able to really take this on a statewide basis. And occurred to me that Lowell would be in a unique situation to be able to start this process, to be able to begin incorporating it into our traditional mathematics curriculum. We have, I know, a district-wide mathematics specialist who I am confident would be able to kind of spearhead this. You can tell Claire I was the one who threw her under the bus. And I think we've had great responses from the mathematics instructors that she's worked with across the district when we've tried some new and innovative things. And I think this could really lend itself to revitalizing a lot of our mathematics teaching here in the district, because as we all know, children of all ages like money and would like to know more about it. The second part of my motion does deal with this concept of being able to provide to our families an opportunity to get this type of information in a comfortable school environment. If we were able to, even in this, hopefully in the somewhat near term, partner, certainly I know Community Teamwork as an agency would be interested in working with this. I also think that there are a number of local banks who have been incredibly supportive of our financial literacy efforts, who I think could be tapped and would be very interested in helping to better educate the families and individuals in the greater Lowell community about making good decisions. What I'm kind of envisioning for these financial education nights would be an opportunity for parents to come in and maybe choose between 4 or 5 different workshops. Saving for your child's college education, foreclosure prevention, credit repair, teaching your kids about money. There are a lot of different topics that I think could be really valuable for families. And as we talk about what our communities are facing today, I think we can all recognize that the financial stability that families are able to attain truly does have an impact on that family's stability in general. The finances are not some arcane or obscure concept. They have a very real impact on the quality of life and the ability to build a life. So I think that, expecting people to understand some very complicated financial situations without ever having really, had it as part of their traditional education or having access to it now even as adults is unreasonable, and that this could be an opportunity specifically for Lowell to take, I think, a really leading role in ensuring that our community is well educated on these topics and has access to this type of information, because again, it can be a thing, a single thing in many cases that keeps a family together, keeps a family functioning, and keeps that child supported as they go through their education here in the city. So I'd appreciate my colleagues' support. Thank you.
Mr. Conway?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask the superintendent, are we doing this now at the high school?
I don't know to what extent we are doing it at the high school. I know presently we teach, money in different, units, starting all the way through elementary school.
Right.
But I took what Ms. Martin said just a little bit further than that, to not just mean how do you add money or work with money in basic algorithm sense, but really the bigger picture with regards to financial investments, maybe even student loans, issues that would take kids on to college, and offer, when Ms. Martin mentioned the motion to me, we also discussed, many of our local banks want to work with us, and I think it would be a great opportunity for us to partner with them and to offer parent nights and to have a financial series, as Ms. Martin just said, of financial education for our families. So, I think it will evolve, and the evening piece, I think we can move on right away. I've noted here to talk to Claire to ask her how the suggestion translates into our present curriculum, because there are certain units that do cover math, but I think it's more extensive than that, what we're talking here. So we probably will give you a call sometime soon, Ms. Martin, just about clarification around the curriculum piece, because that's more complicated. But the evening, I think the banks locally, maybe if each bank took a night and focused on a particular topic, I think that'd be great, that the school committee would sponsor something like that.
Ms. Doherty? Yeah. Any other discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. The last and final motion of the evening by James Leary, Request the superintendent provide the school committee status on all computer-related equipment at Lowell High School's Malloy Alternative School. The report should include the number of computer-related equipment currently not working, and, if applicable, the reason for the status with action plans to resolve the issue. Seconded by Mr. Leahy.
Thank you. With great respect, I think it's self-explanatory. Thank you.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Subcommittee reports. Safety Subcommittee report and approval of the minutes of February 10th, 2009. Regina Fatacanti, Chair.
Thank you, Your Honor. Subcommittee members present were Ms. Doherty and Ms. Martin. Other committee members present were Mr. Conway, School Department personnel, the Superintendent, the Assistant Superintendent Ann Murphy, John Dakota, our Transportation Coordinator, and Rob Doyle, the Assistant Principal of the Daily School. Other individuals present, Your Honor, the Chief, the Superintendent of Police from the Lowell Police Department, Ken LaValle, did come to the meeting, as well as Captain Kelly Richardson from the Lowell Police Department, Judy Murphy, Traffic Supervisor, and Doris Frizzell, Traffic Supervisor. The meeting was, came about as a result that some of our traffic supervisors asked to speak to the Safety Subcommittee. Judy Murphy asked to speak to the subcommittee regarding concerns raised relative to the intersection at Parker and Stevens. That matter has been resolved. We made several decisions at the meeting, Your Honor, which would further smooth any difficulties that may come along. We also determine, Your Honor, the proper chain of command when the school committee has a concern or an issue, who we should be speaking to directly and who we should be speaking to secondarily, so that when the chief hears about things, he's not unaware of certain aspects of what might be happening. It was a very good meeting. Chief LaValle reported that they have had difficulty filling vacancies because really it's only a 2-hour during the day job. It's an hour not even an hour in the morning and not even an hour in the afternoon. And so the police department has had a lot of difficulty in filling the positions. We did offer the services of Mr. Leahy. We figured while he was out visiting schools, he could just put on the vest, you know, and spot hit for us at different places along the city. Chief LaValle requested that any issues be addressed to Deputy Ryan. And the vice principal of the Daily did come and express some of the traffic concerns and the needs that the Daily School specifically had, but it was a very productive meeting, Your Honor. There was a motion by Ms. Doherty, seconded by Ms. Martin, to accept the meeting as a report of progress.
Thank you. And I did meet with Ms. Murphy, and she was very cooperative in my office and said she'll do anything she has to do.
And she was, Your Honor. She was fabulous.
And you know, she explained to me, on a very cold December morning, January morning, you're out there for an hour, you get cold.
Yes.
And you have to appreciate the fact that we do have people watching over the children, these crossing guards and so forth. And like you said, Regina, it's only for less than an hour.
Right.
Where do you find people to get up out of their bed
Right.
to do that and then go back in the afternoon? And it's freezing. So I applaud Ms. Murphy for coming forward and being forthright. And she said, I'll do whatever I have to do to make the children safe. So, accept the reporter's report of progress by Mr. Leahy, seconded by Ms. Martin. All in favor of accepting the reporter's report of progress, signify by saying aye. The report has been accepted. The next Joint Safety and Discipline Subcommittee report and approval of the minutes of February 10, 2009. Regina Fatacanti, Chair of Safety, and David Conway, Chair of Discipline. Ms. Fatacanti.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Safety Subcommittee members present were Ms. Doherty and Ms. Martin. Discipline Subcommittee members were Chairperson Dave Conway and myself. School Department personnel, the Superintendent, Chris Augusta Scott, and Ann Murphy, the Assistant Superintendent. From the Robinson School, Dr. Robert Murphy, Molly Donahue, who's a teacher there, Renee Gasley, who's a teacher also with the Robinson, Michelle Harvey, and other staff from the Robinson School. The meeting was extremely well attended, Your Honor, by staff members at the Robinson School. I would say about half of the staff did show their support to the principal and to one another by coming to the meeting. The principal, Dr. Murphy, presented an update of the Robinson School Time on Learning policy. I will say that teachers were pretty ecstatic about the new policy and how it was actually affecting the progress of the Robinson School in a very, very positive way. Teachers talked about how positive they felt about it. Administration discussed how positive they felt about it. Teachers were pleased with the progress. They felt the policy had a lot of impact on discipline, attendance, and tardiness. They were an issue that was that had been brought up by Mr. Conway, which was regarding after-school detention. There is a modified after-school detention program now for chronic offenders, Your Honor. It's not a large group, but it is unfortunately a stable group of chronic offenders who will now be doing some after-school time. There's a teacher management plan now in effect in every classroom. Procedures have been established regarding special ed students who are being transitioned into the mainstream classroom, and there's increased accountability for learning and encouragement of the relationship between building staff and students. Dr. Murphy reported had a very, very positive impact on the school. There was a motion. The other thing, Your Honor, I'm sorry, the discipline referral form. We also had discussed a discipline referral form. The superintendent designed a form. We now have some consistency in all of our schools regarding when a teacher sends somebody to the office. Unfortunately, the teacher doesn't always know what the result is of that disciplinary action. So we now have a disciplinary referral form. Assistant Superintendent Murphy reported on a meeting between central office administrators, principals, and the UTL representatives to design a very consistent discipline referral form that would be used in every single building. Principals would fill it out, would go into the teacher's box, teacher would know what was happening, what happened to the student, so that there was no big black hole of discipline that teachers felt that they were falling through. The consensus was reached regarding a common component for what the form would look like, and the ability to integrate elements unique to each school into the form. A copy of the completed discipline referral form is going to be sent back to the teacher and also sent to the parent, Your Honor, so that the parent now knows little Johnny was sent to the office for this particular reason. That way, parent hopefully can address the issue with the child at home. There was a motion by Ms. Martin, seconded by Ms. Doherty, to accept this as a report of progress and to provide the school committee with an updated progress report at the end of the school year. It was voted on 4-0, Your Honor.
Excellent report. Mr. Conway?
I just want to add one other thing, Mr. Mayor. I think it's a perfect example of when an administrator, a principal in a school, seeks advice and ideas from the staff, and how that has changed the entire dynamics of that school. And as Ms. Fatacanti said, the attitudes of the teachers, completely different. They realize now it's not from the top down, that their ideas are heard and respected, and it makes all the difference in the world. And that school there, as far as I'm concerned, is certainly on the right track, and it has become much more effective. Thank you.
Excellent report. Any discussion on the report, the presented? Accept the report as a report of progress by Chair Ms. Fatacanti, seconded by Ms. Martin. All in favor of accepting the report as a report of progress, signify by saying aye. The report has been accepted, placed on file. The last subcommittee report is by James Leary, Chair, who had a joint meeting with Councilor Kazanjian and his subcommittee pertaining to the new Morey School. Mr. Leary?
Thank you, Mayor. Quickly, there was Chairman Kazanjian was in attendance, Councilor Michael Lindsay, and a committeewoman, Connie Martin, and myself met last night. We discussed the Morey School and the current status. I guess the bigger items, the first item from a cost perspective, it's on budget, which is a very positive thing. Regarding the actual status of the building, it's not about 90% complete at this point in time. And I think the target move-in date is April vacation for the students at this point in time. Also in attendance was the city manager and Assistant Superintendent Jay Lang, along with Assistant City Manager T.J. McCarthy. And I believe all three of them spoke eloquently regarding this is a negotiation we're working with the general contractor to achieve that as the move-in date. It's still not etched in stone, but that's our goal. We'll have more updates in our packets in the next coming weeks regarding the progress, as well as probably an additional subcommittee meeting. In addition, once the April vacation moving in, there'll be a 2-month time frame for abatement for the asbestos, so they'll take us approximately into hopefully the end of June, beginning of July, when then the demolition would occur in the summertime. So these are the target dates at this point. These are the goals that both the city administration, the school administration are working on and negotiating with the general contractor. Those are, I guess, the important status at this point. Some others miscellaneous, but also equally important. Councilor Lindsay articulated how great this building is, a green building, that the basketball gymnasium is well lit. You don't need lights during the day. It's a different design. Ms. Connie Martin, the committeewoman Connie Martin, discussed the HVACs and the HVAC equipment and the importance of ensuring that it actually works and works in a manner that's going to be a benefit, as opposed to causing more issues like some of the other buildings have. Mr. McCarthy also discussed regarding the surrounding of the Maury School, the park that's in place. And at this point in time, the city is going to be working with Tom Belgrade, the commissioner of the Parks Department, to really build what they call a passive park and a green space, if you will. It won't be, at this point in time, basketball hoops or what have you. However, they will be having a city council neighborhood subcommittee meeting to discuss and bring the neighborhood in as well to discuss what type of park environment they're going to have. But the reality with the costs involved at this point, I guess the initial plans, or at least the initial focus or recommendations, will be it's going to be a passive park. The meeting was well attended, and it was an informational meeting. We hope for more information going forward. Thank you.
Anyone else would like to add to that? Mr. Leahy?
Thank you. I was unable to attend the meeting, but I did watch it. Did we answer any questions? I don't know if I should go through you, Your Honor, or Mr. Lang, but the April date, is that going to be set in stone, or it's not set in stone yet, when I watched the meeting, but
Right.
What happens if we don't hit the April timetable?
The April, if you don't mind, the April time is absolutely critical for the school department that we hit that date. The contract itself called for completion to be done around February.
Right.
So we've had a few delays at the school. We had some unsuitable soil issues in the beginning. We're now dealing with the transition to the phase 3 of the project, which is once the new building is constructed, moving the kids and staff to the new facility to allow for phase 3, which is the asbestos abatement and demolition of the old building. And I mean, typically some projects do run a few weeks behind. We don't have the luxury where in 2 weeks' time, if the building was turned over to us, we could move in. We need at least 5 to 7 days of time to be able to cut over phone lines, computer systems, and things like that to enter the building. So we're kind of confined to the February vacation, which couldn't happen because of the status of the building. Our next opportunity to move in is April. And the contractor at this point, and again, it is a negotiation, it's a sensitive matter, but they think they'll be able to have the building, what they term substantially complete, and the majority of the punch list done, probably within the next month and a half, which puts us in the mid-March to late March timeframe, which works for us to be able to have all of our furniture delivery into the school, have our supplies and equipment come beginning part of April. And all that bidding has been done. There were 2 phases of bidding that were done on the furnishings and equipment and the technology, and that's been completed. The purchase orders are placed, contracts are in place, and we've been working with the vendors to make sure that that equipment will arrive at the school between April 1st and April 10th. So we're going to be ready, if that happens, to be able to get the equipment on site, have it set up, and then actually do the move over April vacation. And again, I think Mr. Leary mentioned it is critical to us to be able to get in there for April vacation, because we need to have approximately 8 to 10 weeks to do all the clean out of the old building. The asbestos abatement has to be done before you can do the demolition. So we want to use May and June to get that piece of the work done at the site, to then be able to actually take the building down in July and August. If we don't, and again, the critical point, if we do not make the April vacation move in for whatever reason, our next time to move and take the building is September. So we would have to close the Maury School at the end of the school year in June, which again is fine for us programmatically. The 2 months isn't going to hurt us. But that means that the abatement work happens over the summer, and you'd actually be knocking the building down in September and October when there are children and staff in the new building. And if you're at the site, the new building at its closest point is about 4.5, 5 feet from the old building. So it's a very, very tight just footprint where the building is placed. So I can't stress, and we did last night, how critical it is for us to hit that April target date. And we will every, probably not the March 4th meeting, but the second meeting in March, will provide you with a written update to that. And we talked at the meeting last night of having another joint subcommittee meeting, probably towards the end of March, just to make sure we're on time frame, and possibly even having it at the Maury School, so we can get a look at the school ahead of time. But I do think we're progressing well, so that if things do fall into place, we can hit those targets.
Are they on a punch list right now?
They're doing punch list as they go along.
Okay, but
there's-
how complete are we? I heard 90% last night, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you're welcome to come for a walkthrough really at any time to check on your own. Contractually by contract, there's a term substantial completion, which at that point, the architect and Watermark, our project manager, will actually go in and certify and withhold the amount of funds that the kind of the legal punch list, if you want to call it at that point, is documented. That is then the list that they complete, turn the building over to us, and everything is done. What we've been doing, because we do have the project manager on site, is they do their daily and weekly walkthroughs. We're documenting anything that we're finding not acceptable to our standards of terms now, so that they can actually, while they have more contractors on site, be trying to knock off those items, so that we don't get to the substantial completion date over the next month or so, and then turn them over a list, and they have to go get the contractors and the subs back on site to complete the work. So there is you can call it kind of a massive punch list if you want to at this point. That includes everything, soup to nuts, that still has to be done. But really, once you hit that substantial completion date by contract, is when everyone is going to agree to what the actual final items are, and that's when you move towards legally completing the project.
Okay, I mean, this building is it's managed much better than the Stocklosa school. I've been over there myself with you and a few counselors, and they're doing a great job, so I hope we do hit that date, so thank you.
Ms. Martin and then Mr. Leary.
Thank you very much. And I think, and it had certainly been, I think, discussed at the subcommittee meeting last night, that there have been some significant changes in terms of the way the state is managing these projects. And I think that this has been a situation where the changes they've made have really been very positive. I don't mean to sound so surprised by that, but the way they've set up their system, and Mr. Leary had mentioned the HVAC, the idea that when you're coming to completion of building a new building, that you bring in an independent auditor who will look at the system and ensure that it's working appropriately, I think is just really, it is such a well-considered decision. HVAC, as we all know at the Stocklosa, has been, from the beginning, when the school first opened, was a huge challenge, and we were faced with, after the fact, while kids are in classrooms and teachers are trying to get their important work done, trying to fix something that really is huge to the success of a school environment. So I think that that's a really positive move. I also think, as we talk about the fact that we're hitting our budget numbers, a huge part of that obviously is that the state did accept a lot of the I guess, unanticipated funding, unanticipated expenses that really come around with a site that had some environmental issues. That the ability to be able to include those funds in our reimbursable expenses makes a huge difference in this city being able to support this, and I think that's fabulous. I will say my only disappointment in the meeting was the idea that the school itself, when it's being demolished, there's not going to be a big implosion, which I found very disappointing. I was really looking forward to one of those opportunities to watch a building implode from the inside out. I thought that would have been a pretty cool little science experiment. But Mr. Lang has dashed my hopes and told me that because of the tight footprint, it's going to be a very, I guess, bulldozer-driven
Brick by brick.
Exactly, which I'm sure is very thoughtful and well-considered, but not nearly as dramatic as I had been hoping for. But it was certainly a very interesting meeting in the city, and Mr. Lang, and I know so many people who've been involved with this really have stayed on target, and I think the system has shown real improvements, and we're going to bear the fruit of that when we are, as we anticipate, in that building, able to make the changeover in April, as is so critically important, and get our students in there so they're really enjoying the benefits of a spectacular new school space. Thank you.
Mr. Leary?
Just real quick, too, just to reemphasize what Mr. Lang was saying, we're going to get a report in your packet like March 6th, I think that's that Friday, regarding where we're at. And we'll also have another subcommittee meeting thereafter. And Mr. Lang's correct. It was emphasized by not only the school committee, the administration, and both city councilors that this is critical that we get in there for April vacation. So everybody's fully cognizant of it. Thank you. And I want to take this as a report of progress.
Accept the verbal report as a report of progress by Mr. Conway, seconded by Ms. Doherty. All in favor of accepting the report as a report of progress, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Report has been accepted and placed on file. I just have one question, Jay. There is a penalty clause in the contract. If the contractor doesn't finish the school on time, there's certainly a penalty clause in there that would affect the contract.
Yes, there is a penalty clause. I would say at this point personally, it's too early in the stage to even explore that. And there's a lot of negotiation that has to take place between the contractor, the architect, the city. Just because of the way this particular project was bid and the phasing of the projects, there's, potentially a lot of issues that can go wrong because one piece can be done and we may not be able to move in, again, because we talked about the vacation week issue. So there's a lot of give and take that has to happen. And that negotiation's ongoing. And, we'll update you as we move along.
Thank you. Moving on with the agenda. Reports of the superintendent. Madam Superintendent?
Thank you, Your Honor. I bring your attention to the promising practices for reducing the dropout rate. Ann Murphy, Assistant Superintendent of Student Support Services, has been working on many issues with regards to the dropout intervention programs here in our city, and Lowell Public Schools was one of 7 school districts who, and took part in the study with regards to effective initiatives that are being put in place and have been put in place, because our dropout rate has significantly declined in recent years and continues in the right direction. And in particular, it's noted in this report, which is quite lengthy, by the Rene Center, which is the think tank at Harvard University in Cambridge. But in particular, just to note, the Latino Connections Program and the Freshman Academy here were highlighted as best practices. So thank you, Ms. Murphy, for a great job. And the internet safety. And this report, again, from Ann Murphy's office, is in response to Ms. Doherty's request for information regarding the state mandates requiring cyberbullying education programs. So in anticipation of the passage of Senate Bill number 2637, entitled An Act Relative to Bullying, which will mandate schools to incorporate anti-bullying programs and strategies inclusive of cyberbullying, each school has been given a copy of the United States Department of Education's booklet entitled Preventing Bullying, a Manual for Schools and Communities, as well as the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Handbook entitled Direct from the Field, A Guide to Bullying Prevention. It is projected that all schools will have adopted, designed, and integrated a violence prevention program for the upcoming 2009-2010 school year. And when Ms. Murphy and I attended a workshop on this earlier in the fall, we discussed at that time how important it was for us to be proactive with regards to this initiative, and the earliest it will be passed is July. We're hoping for other school districts that's the case, so that it will be mandated in other districts as well, because it is such an important issue that we face here and across the country. An act relative to bullying defines, and I think this is important also for our families at home, if you don't mind just for me to read this, because it's such an important topic. An act relative to bullying defines cyberbullying as bullying by means of electronic mails, cellular phones, instant messages, text messages, or websites. In addition, the Federal Children's Internet Protection Act was recently amended to include educating students about appropriate online behavior. Online behavior includes interacting with other individuals on social networking websites and chat rooms, as well as cyberbullying awareness and response. To comply with the amended Children's Internet Protection Act, a cyber safety curriculum is being developed. We anticipate that this cyber safety curriculum will be presented to all students each year by the library media specialist or the instructional technology specialist at each of our schools. We will continue to review the Lowell Public Schools acceptable use policy with students annually. Students and parents are required to sign an acceptable use policy agreement each year, and that presently is in place as well. Thank you, Ms. Murphy.
Ms. Doherty?
Thank you, Your Honor. Through you to the superintendent. I thank you for such a quick response on my motion about cyberbullying. I just had a couple of questions regarding this report. You say that a cyber safety curriculum is being developed. Does that mean we're developing out of central office a program that will then be shared with the schools?
We're working in conjunction, but I'll let Ms. Murphy give you the full details.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes, we are. We've been working, some of our library media specialists and our technology specialists have been working on a cyberbullying curriculum that they plan to present to all of the library media specialists, instructional technology specialists that will then present the curriculum to all of our students at the beginning of each year.
Great. So, may I ask another question? So would that be separate from, because I know each school has an anti-bullying program and they've kind of defined it differently for their own culture or way they want to approach it. So would this be separate from our bully prevention programs?
This would be in addition to that. That's
Okay.
correct. Because as you said, each school will have an anti-violence social skills program, anti-bullying program. This will be specifically for internet safety, cyberbullying, and it will be presented separately.
Okay, then one request, and I would make this in the form of a motion, is that we provide some sort of handout on cyberbullying once the curriculum has been developed for parents that could come home with the students to kind of give, you know, the top 10 tips for parents. Now, I know the Citywide Parent Council had a meeting on cyberbullying last month. That's how it came to my attention. But I just think, you know, we don't get as many parents out at those meetings or watching the shows as we'd like. And if the school sent home a little tip sheet about what parents should be looking for in terms of their students. And, I mean, I know we do the acceptable use policy sheet where parents sign, and there is some stuff there about internet use with our students, but something specific to cyberbullying, that would be my request, that we have some information that would go out to parents on that. So that would be my motion that...
I need a suspension of the rules.
Suspension of the rules, Your Honor, so that Ms. Doherty may bring in a motion?
Move for suspension of the rules by Ms. Fattacani, seconded by Mr. Leahy. All in favor of the suspension, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The suspensions are in order.
Sorry.
And I wasn't paying attention, Jackie. Could you
Okay,
just recite that
I'd
motion?
just like to make a motion that once the cyberbullying curriculum is completed, that we also include a portion of information that would go home to parents about cyberbullying and how they can protect their students in this area.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Fattacani. Madam Superintendent?
Just point of clarification, would it be acceptable, Ms. Doherty, for us to put that tip sheet in with the acceptable use policy that goes home every year?
That's a
So
great
it
idea.
Could be
Yes.
accompanied, okay, thank you.
That's excellent.
I just want to say, I want to compliment Dr. Murphy that she's following the federal government to comply with the amended Children's Internet Protection Act. So federal guidelines. And I just want to applaud you for the administration for bringing this forward because of the recent issues that have developed in some of the suburban towns. So let me, I think Ms. Martins and then Mr. Leahy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to ask on the promising practices report. I had noticed that there were a couple of school profiles, but there wasn't one included for Lowell. I didn't know if that was just not part of their final published results or...
They actually selected a couple of schools to do the profiles for, of all that were part of the survey.
Just curious. Oh, there you go. Well, I'd like to see your name. But I do think, having gone over the report, I think one of the things that certainly struck me was this whole concept that, the freshman academy that we've put in place at Lowell High School, that we've seen some, I think, extraordinary success from. Certainly it's been implemented in other districts. I think they're seeing some similar positive results. But I think we can really see, now that we're, a few years into it, how bringing together that age group and really focusing on, doubling the guidance counselor support that they receive at a very critical time. I mean, that transition from middle school to high school and then into the main high school, the sophomore year, really is where the huge bulk of our dropouts happen. And I think the Freshman Academy really has shown great potential for engaging those students in some different ways, and if by giving those students some additional resources and additional adults who are paying attention and connected with them, really does make a difference. And I think that, as I read the report, a lot of different ideas, but that was really one that jumped out at me, and I think that we should be really pleased with, and the high school should be pleased with.
Mr. Leahy, and then Ms. Doherty.
Thank you. Through you to the superintendent, what we were talking about with the tips for parents, where did you suggest that go again, home with the?
Sorry. All our parents have to sign a usage.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was going to say. If we could have a signature on that, so that's good, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we want to make sure that they see it, so, thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Doherty, are you all set? All in favor of the motion presented by Ms. Doherty, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. And I'm asking the committee to accept the report presented by Superintendent Scott as a report of progress. A motion to accept is by Ms. Martin, seconded by Mr. Leary. All in favor of accepting the report indicate by saying aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? The report has been,
All three reports.
what's that?
All three reports.
All three reports. New business, agreement with Middlesex Community College.
Your Honor, I'm requesting the school committee's approval and signature on the agreement between the Middlesex Community College and us with regards to the second grade dental screening program. And I believe a vote needs to be taken. I've attached the agreement.
Yes.
Could I have a
Roll call
question
vote,
on
please.
that one?
Move
I
for
have a-
appro.
Well, I have a question too
Go ahead.
before we do it. I don't know, through you or Dr. Murphy, if I read the agreement, it seems very complicated. Could you just explain what we're doing here? Because there's a lot of, this
It's
looks like,
children's teeth.
well, I know, but it looks like we're responsible for our dental chairs and a lot of, it looks a little confusing what we're responsible for.
Ms.
I had the
Murphy?
same concerns when I looked at it. Actually, the city solicitor, Christine O'Connor, put a lot of the verbiage here and the legal parameters around it.
Right.
What will happen is what has happened for many years. Middlesex Community College, we have a partnership with them where they will come in and do a presentation to all of our second grade classes and do a screening for sealants. And those students who are eligible for the sealants, we then provide transportation. Transportation coordinator John Dakota's been wonderful in terms of providing transportation buses so that there's no cost for us. The students go over to Middlesex, they have the sealants put on, and they come back to the schools. It's only for second grade students. It's not, there's no charge for parents, there's no charge to the school system. It's a program that we've had for several years. This agreement is really a 3-year agreement, and every 3 years it comes up again, and it comes through the solicitor's office. It's
Okay, I
actually my first experience with it as well.
Well, I just had, in the last few months, we're talking a lot about contracts, and reading this, it says that the college will clear students for physical fitness and make sure that they have all their shots. They actually do that?
That's for the students from Middlesex who will be coming into our schools and doing the screening and the educational presentation with our second grade students.
Right, but they give them a physical and make sure that they have...
So that we can
Well, this is
ensure,
under, all right, the college agrees that their students are up to date on their shots,
Yes.
you're
Yes.
saying?
That their students are.
All right, and what about the agency, meaning the school?
The schools, that's correct.
It says we're supposed to have supplies and equipment essential for clinical, for the clinical and educational experience. Are we providing booklets or something, or?
No, the college will provide the supplies, the equipment. We will provide the use of our cafeteria. We'll allow the students from the college who will be coming in use of our facilities for that time that they'll be doing the screenings. But they bring all of their own equipment.
Because it does say that we will provide supplies and equipment.
At no cost to the parent or the school system.
Well, not in that line, though.
Well, I'm reading the last sentence. Will afford our second-grade students dental screening for sealants and fluoride treatments at no cost to the parents or school system.
Which page is that, though?
Right on the front page.
Okay, well, I'm just reading through the agreement,
And I think this is a wonderful program for
oh, I think it's a good,
secondary students.
I think it's a good program. I'm just reading the writing, the agreement, and I was just wondering why it was so complicated, and
Are you referring to the second page where it says the agency agrees to allow
yeah,
the student?
third, well, yeah, cover
The
letter and
first
then
bullet?
second page in, yeah.
The first bullet where it says, allow
Yeah.
the student enrolled at the college to utilize the facilities of the agency and resources, including supplies and equipment. The supplies and equipment are basic, sort of crayons for some of the kids and paper, because they do an educational unit with them.
Okay. All right, and then obviously, this is just a demo, because the date in here is already passed. The
Yes,
agreement.
that is a demo, and if the committee approves it, we will have the contract drawn, and we will ask the President Cowan for Middlesex to sign off on it, and then we will bring it back to you for the next committee meeting for signatures.
Okay, it's just a lot of terms here for something so simple. Thank you.
Madam Superintendent, can you clarify the no cost to the parent or the school system?
2 points of clarification, Your Honor. Mr. Leahy, just again to bring your attention to the fact that this document has been reviewed and approved by our city solicitor just to cover the school department. And the last bullet on the last page, the dental hygiene education program shall be the responsibility of and under the control and supervision of the college. So I think that, I hope, gets at your concerns with regards to what we're responsible for, really getting the children there on the bus and back again, and to have parental permission.
No, it does. It's just that one bullet says something else to me, and then another bullet says another thing to me,
Okay.
and another bullet says another thing. And the last few months, we've been really going through contracts. I just want to make sure that before I put my name on something,
Sure.
that it's clear to me. I know this is something simple, something that we've been doing, but, you know, if we're going to scrutinize the contracts, when I started reading this, I wanted to make sure what we were responsible for and what we weren't, and I didn't want someone to tell me that,
Sure.
that, where am I here, that, you know, supplies means crayons. When I read this contract, you know, no offense, I'm just saying,
Sure.
supplies for dental hygienic, for dental work doesn't mean crayons to me. So, you know, I just want to make sure that down the road, there's not a little catch here that says, well, you agreed to it, so.
Don't you get
That's
crayons
all.
when you go to the dentist?
Not where I go anymore.
My 3-year-old granddaughter went to the dentist, and they gave her a crayon and a little...
And a ring?
This man.
She is a very nice dentist. I just wanted to ask, first off, you know, this is obviously a program that our students benefit from, absolutely, and it's wonderful that Middlesex makes this available to all of our second graders throughout the district. I was just concerned, I'm looking at the dates here, that the effective date is this January 10th, 2009. I'm concerned that where this is just coming to us now after having gone through this whole process, have we missed any have we missed a scheduling point now that there may be some students who wouldn't get the benefit of this, or are we still on track to be able to serve all second graders?
We're still on track. I believe the original contract, when it went through the solicitor's office, Middlesex had hoped to get it out a little sooner. We always provide the program, though, in the spring. Usually around April, we will start, the Middlesex students will come in and do their educational piece, and then we'll have the kids go over to the college.
Okay, any other questions? Motion to accept by Ms. Martin, seconded by Mr. Leary, to approve. No more discussion?
Do we need a roll call because it's a contract? I believe so, Your Honor, yes.
That's the next thing I'm gonna ask. Roll call.
Thank you.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Mr. Conway? He's absent, okay.
Yes.
Doesn't work, you know. Miss Doherty? Miss Doherty? Miss Fattacante?
Yes.
Mr. Leahy?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
6 yeas, 1 absent.
And I might say, this is an excellent program to introduce to second grade children who probably wouldn't see a dentist for years. This is a way to introduce them to the dentist and get acquainted with the dentist, and the dentist isn't that big bad person everyone thinks they are. And this is a wonderful program, and it's gonna service the children. Convention and conference requests, Madam Superintendent?
Can we take them up in their entirety?
I would love to see you do that.
You're on a motion to
Because-
take them up in their entirety.
Because I read these extensively, and if we take them all at once, and a motion to approve
A motion to
by
approve.
Ms. Fattacante, seconded by Ms. Martin, to approve the following convention conference requests. No more discussion? Roll call? I understand that all the costs
Yes.
all associated with the school
Right.
department, they're not missing any school days, and everyone's happy. Roll call.
And Your Honor, it is okay to travel outside of the city of Lowell.
Yes. Yeah.
Just want to put that right out there. We in fact, think it's a wonderful idea to travel outside the city of Lowell.
Madam Clerk, roll call.
Miss Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Miss Doherty?
Yes.
Miss Fattacante?
Yes.
Mr. Leahy?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Thank you. Communications, professional personnel, United Teachers of Lowell hereby request to donate sick leave days to the following teachers: Melissa Murphy, Lowell High School, and Cynthia Lewis, McAvenue School. Motion
Move
to
approval, Your
approve by
Honor.
Ms. Fattacante, seconded by Mr. Conway. Why don't we take a roll call vote on that?
You have to, really. Miss Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Miss Doherty?
Yes.
Miss Fattacante?
Yes.
Mr. Leahy?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Before we adjourn, first of all, thank you for a great meeting. It went along smoothly, especially that last vote. But I just want to let the committee know that Superintendent Scott and Gene Franco, we attended the Abraham Lincoln School bicentennial dedication to one of the greatest presidents in our history, Abraham Lincoln. And I must say, Principal Dunning, the entire faculty, but especially the children, they were fabulous. And those children were so polite, so respectful. They rose when they were told to, they sang when they were told to, they knew all the words. But what a tribute to Abraham Lincoln, and Madam Superintendent and your administration and the teachers of that school. They should be all proud, be proud. And I might add, at the next school committee meeting, the little things you find out, and you ask yourself people ask you, why do you get involved? There's a woman in the cafeteria who personally baked 500 cupcakes at her home for
Mrs.
this
Smith.
occasion. And we're gonna, what's that?
Were there any left over?
I don't think so. But, the entire ceremony was, I mean, this is what it's all about. And
Absolutely.
These children were phenomenal. The principal, the faculty, and the cafeteria workers. So at the next school committee meeting, I am going to present a citation to that cafeteria worker because, you know, there's nothing written in fine language in her contract, oh, you have to bake 500 cupcakes. She just did it because she wanted to, and that's what's so great about the school department in the city of Lowell. So I just want to let you know. Yes, Mr. Lay.
I just wanted to add to that, too, that whenever any of us go over to that school, Miss Dunning and her staff, I mean, they have a great school there. They get great parent participation when you go to any of those plays. I mean, you can't get in there. The stage and the auditorium is packed. I mean, I've never, well, I don't want to say I've never seen it, but it's one of our schools that we really get probably close to 100% parent participation over there. They have a great school, and they get everybody involved, and they just do a great job.
And that school was one of the earliest schools built. And I might say that school is in still excellent condition. And Madam Superintendent, you just let the faculty know, the mayor and the school committee was very appreciative of the bicentennial celebration to Abraham Lincoln. With that said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn by
Motion
Ms.
to adjourn.
Kennedy, second by Mr. Conway. Thank you very much.